Hello everybody. Welcome to today's tarot deck review. I am going to be reviewing The Magician Longs to See. This is a tarot deck inspired by Twin Peaks. So if you're not familiar with Twin Peaks, it is a TV show that was around, and then they did do a new series, which I have not watched. I believe it's on Showtime. That was an extension of the original Twin Peaks. So there's a lot of imagery in this deck that, because I use this on my YouTube channel and I've used it for readings, I know that there's a lot of people who don't get the imagery, or they look a little bit too much into it when really the imagery is just based on the characters and the situations that were happening in the show. So, anyway, I just wanted to bring that up ahead of time because there is a lot of stuff in here that is not necessarily a reflection of traditional tarot meanings, but I will get into that. So, box is pretty standard. I did support the Kickstarter for this deck, and so I did get this this copy. I do not know, because of purchasing it on Kickstarter, whether or not it's still available or if he is going to be selling anymore. I hope so, because he did go to a lot of trouble with copywriting and everything to make this deck possible. So that is just what I'm hoping. And so what this deck comes with, aside from just the deck itself in the box, is, you know, his inventive interpretation stays true to Twin Peaks and still honors the layout and style of the tarot's original artist. So it goes through all of the suits and everything, but it doesn't include an interpretation for every single one of the, it doesn't include an interpretation for every single one of the cards, which I don't mind because I like not having that personally, so that my intuition can kind of speak for the cards instead. I will go ahead and compare it. This is Morgan Greer, what I usually compare the sides of tarot cards with, so you can see pretty close. It's marginally wider, the Twin Peaks cards are, but I really like the quality of the cards. They are very slick. They are very glossy, so they do slip and slide around, whereas the Morgan Greer deck is more of the matte finish. This is glossier, but it doesn't shine too bad if you are using them on camera or anything. In terms of shuffling, they are pretty flexible and easy to shuffle. So they feel good, they shuffle nicely, they are good quality. I like the thickness of them because they're still bendable. They're not super thick or anything like that. And then the suits, you know, they have poker chips, and then they have swords, and they have cups. So those are what the cups look like. Okay, so I'll just show you some of these cards. I believe I got a comment, the one that's coming to mind, and I think it was based off of, and if you're familiar with Twin Peaks, you might notice like all of the characters. I'm not going to go too into that because this is just for the sake of tarot, not really dissecting the show or anything. But I believe somebody called this deck misogynistic. And when that happened, I was just like, well, I mean, that you haven't seen the show probably. So, yeah, you gotta watch it. It's very odd, but it's like Twin Peaks fans really love this deck when I use it. So, okay, I'm just gonna go through. Okay, anyway, you get the idea. So the interpretations are still consistent and congruent with tarot's original meanings, you know, with the traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck, but it's total Twin Peaks setting, Twin Peaks theme, Twin Peaks, Twin Peaks, Twin Peaks. So that is what's going on with this deck, which I absolutely, absolutely love. So, oh yeah, this is another one where it was like, well, you know, what does this mean? What does that mean? Why, you know, why is, if it's a king, where's the king? And it's just like, no, you can't do that with this deck so much. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a wormhole. So that's why I just try to, or like, oh, look, you know, that guy looking in on everything. And it's kind of like, if you allow it to, this deck, you can overread, I would say. You could actually like go way too into it and actually lose the intuitive information. So that is the one thing that I would issue a word of caution. Typically, I'm a big supporter of, like, you know, following what stands out to your eye, what is coming through as the most important information based on your intuition. But this deck is a little bit too easy to go way deeper than just what's showing up on the cards. So that is the one thing that I kind of like to communicate about this deck. The other thing about this deck is that I do not recommend that you use this deck to read for yourself ever at all. I'm already pretty much a stickler with reading for yourself in general, but with this deck in particular, I have not found that it is gentle in delivering information or accurate. A lot of the time it will amplify your worst fears, and so this is a good deck to use for reading for other people or looking at things that you're incredibly neutral on, but it doesn't respond well to reading for yourself. I do try with every single one of my decks to read for myself, and there are only a few that I will use for that purpose. So I like to mention that as well. This deck is also serious in nature. It is, it feels not playful at all. So that is another thing that I wanted to mention about this. And that is all that I have today for this deck review. I hope that this answers some of your questions. Please, if you are interested in, if you have any other questions about this deck, I'll post as much info as I can in the description box. But otherwise, you are welcome to leave a comment and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you, everybody, for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.